Here we have Dr. G.V. Brinda Devi from Queensbury College, Chennai.
Good morning to one and all, and it's noon actually. Good afternoon. Hi all. I would like to bring your attention, please, because I could see some restlessness here, as Dr. Bhuneshri said, and there's going to be so much of mind-storming sessions here. And if you could take one fraction of this to your future studies, it would be of much use to you, and it would be the success of this particular conference. And thank you. My topic is P53, the guardian of the genome. The topic is itself shows the interesting thing on the P53 gene. And it was first Professor Sir David Lane who discovered this in 1970. It was a small molecule, P53. During the morning session, you would have heard about the P53, then RB gene and other cancer-related gene. And my topic is just one. I'm just particularly making a clear understanding about this particular P53 gene. And this gene transcribes a protein which is called as P53, and this is the voted molecule of the year, and it plays a very good role in controlling the cell cycle as well as the apoptosis. And it is also called as tumor protein. You can call it as TP53 or TRP53. And another name for this is the gatekeeper of the cell. And this particular protein, it has one copy of this gene has one copy of TP53, and it has two alleles, and if it gets defective, it leads to abnormal cells to proliferate, and it results in the cancer. And as many as 50% of the human tumors, they contain P53 mutation. Next slide, please. And this is the structure of the 3D structure of the P53 gene. Next slide. And structure of the human P53, you can see the different structures, secondary, primary structure. And there are several domains in the human P53 gene, that is the transcription domain, the DNA binding domain, and the tetramerization domain, and as well as the basic amino acid domain. Next slide. And you can see that each domain contributes to different functions, and the domain that activates the transcription factors, then the next domain, it recognizes the specific DNA sequences, which seems to be the codomain, as well as the domain which is, the domain which is responsible for the tetramerization of the protein, and the next domain will be that which sees to the misaligned base pairs as well as the single-stranded DNA if there is any particular DNA damage. Next slide, please. I have already told you about the three functions: apoptosis, cell cycle, as well as the previous slide. Yeah, the three characteristic function of this P53 gene is suppression of apoptosis, increased proliferation, as well as the genomic instability. And you can see if there is a DNA damage, a particular piece of the DNA is damaged. Next slide. So this P53 comes for help, and P53 is always accompanied with MDM2 gene. MDM2 is nothing but mouse double minute 2 homologous gene. And when there is a DNA damage or cell cycle abnormalities or hypoxia, this P53 gene dislocates from the MDM2 gene, and then it comes for making cell cycle arrest or DNA repair or cell cycle restart. And on the other way, it also goes for apoptosis or cell death, and it eliminates the damaged cells. So it maintains homeostasis of cellular as well as genetic stability. And you could see stress state as well as the unstressed state of the P53. During the unstressed state, there is MDM2, as I always said, it is a ubiquitous enzyme ligase, and it goes for the degradation of the P53, and it breaks it into proteosomes. And then there is no transcriptional, it controls the basal state transcription of the DNA in an unstressed state. If it does, if the DNA is in a stress state, for example, there is an oncogene expression or DNA damage or metabolic dysfunction, oncogene expression, P14 gene as well as ARF is expressed. so that it also activates the MDM2 as well as MDM4. And during the DNA damage, there are two genes, ATM as well as ATR, and there are two checkpoints. So I'm just going in an order. Now, metabolic dysfunction, when it is caused by means of hypoxia or oxidative stress or nutrient deprivation, all these states, that is in a stress state, it initiates the post-translational modifications, and the P53 becomes active. So when there is a DNA damage or there is any stress signals, it triggers the increase of the P53 proteins. So it, as I told you, it has all these functions, that is the growth arrest, DNA repair as well as the apoptosis. You could see the different genes which are expressed during each, that is during the growth arrest, P21, CAT45 and 14-3-3S is triggered, and then during DNA repair, P53R2 increases, then apoptosis, BAX, APF1 and PUMA as well as NOXA is activated. So now the growth arrest of this stops the progression of the cell cycle. So it prevents the replication of the damaged DNA, thereby stopping the DNA mutation to go forward. So during apoptosis, so after everything gets over, apoptosis is the last resort to avoid proliferation of the cell which contains the abnormal DNA. So this is just a diagrammatic representation of this P53. So as I told you, when DNA transcribed into a P53 protein, the MDM2 gene, it gets expressed, and unphosphorylated P53 is also there. P53 along with the MDM2, as I told you, it is a ubiquitin mediated degradation. So MDM2 dissociate from the P53 and P53 is degraded. So phosphorylated P53 in the sense, there is no P53 as well as MDM2 complex is formed. And during DNA damage, ATM kinase is activated. So there is also no P53 MDM2 complex. So then what happens is P53 increases, MDM2 also increases. And during, I didn't finish it. So when the DNA is getting repaired, again ATM kinase is inactivated, MDM2 binds with the P53 and P53 decreases. So I told you it is a negative regulator of the P53. So whatever I said is in this slide. So please next slide please. So there is a syndrome which is called as Lee-Fromeny syndrome. So if the P53 gene gets damaged, the tumor suppression is severely reduced. So people who inherit only one functional copy of this P53, they are more likely to develop tumors in the early adulthood. And this particular syndrome is called as Lee-Fromeny syndrome, and you can also say that they are P53 positive. So when both copies of these alleles are mutated, it leads to the formation of altered P53 protein. So it cannot trigger apoptosis, and there is uncontrolled cell proliferation which leads to the cancer. So P53 can also be damaged by several mutagens. As you can see, there are chemicals, radiations or viruses. Then more than 50% of the human tumors, they may be due to the mutation or deletion of the P53 gene. So the future of this P53 lies in the hands of your young scientists, researchers as well as the graduate students who take back this, and you can do lots. Thank you. As always.
I have one question. Like,
Yes.
I went from the voice of all the students. So from morning we are discussing the level of cancer and the genes, the different level of genes and the expression studies. But we just want to know what is the level of biosafety is required to take when we are working in the cancerous study. For example, now the COVID is a trend is going on. So wherever we are going, we have to take our self-hazardous, right?
Sure.
So in that case, the biosafety 1, biosafety 2, biosafety 3 and biosafety 4 as far as my understanding. So what are all the safeties we should take for work in the cancerous study? Even Devendra Reddy sir can answer,
Maybe.
or if you can
Yeah.
clarify this. Like even students will have the same kind of a question.
Of course.
So it's a kind of a hazardous thing, that how we can take ourselves more precautious.
Of course. See, when you are doing research, like see if you are imaging DNA, you go for ethylene diamide. It's an orange dye. Okay. So prevent from touching it, or it is spilled on the surface. So we just give so much of measures to that. So to see that the students are wearing gloves.